What about confidence? Well, I'm going to show you another strategy that is scientifically proven to boost your confidence. It's called a power pose, and I personally go into power poses every single day and many times a day because I know the value it brings. I do a power pose before any new client arrives. I do a power pose before I even get into my car if I'm going to give a presentation. And then I'll do a power pose right before the presentation. I do them before I go into important conversations, even if that conversation happens to be on the phone, and so do my clients. So let me bring you into a power pose. At this point, I'd like you to stand up. I'm going to bring you into a power pose, and this is going to help you create a more confident and more charismatic presence. Remember, presence is an inside game. So what I'd like you to do, I'm going to stand back a little bit so you can see me. Take a nice wide stance. Bring your shoulders back up and down and put your hands on your hips. You're going to get this nice wide expanse in your chest. Now I'd like you to lift your chin. From here, I'd like you to raise your hands above your head as if you just scored a winning goal. And then you're going to smile from ear to ear. And with each breath, imagine that your chest is swelling to twice its size. Now stay in this position because I'm going to talk. I'm going to come out. You stay standing. There is a Harvard study done by Amy Cuddy on power posing. Keep holding that pose. Cuddy took two groups of people. One she put into a power pose, which is just like the one that you're in. The other group she put into what was called a low power pose. But first, she took a swab of their saliva to measure two hormones. One is testosterone, which creates feelings of confidence and power, and the other was cortisol, which makes us feel stressed and anxious. Keep holding that pose. You're almost done. Keep your chin lifted. After 2 minutes of holding the poses, Cuddy measured their hormone levels again. Okay, you can come out of the pose, but keep your hands on your hips, stay lifted. So Cuddy, in the high-powered posers, she found that their levels of testosterone went up, which meant that they felt more confident and more powerful, and their cortisol levels actually lowered. So not only did they feel more confident and more powerful, they also felt less stressed and less anxious. What this power pose did for you is it just flooded your bloodstream with testosterone. It also gave you a boost of energy. So if you were feeling a bit lethargic before, I am sure you're more awake now. So you can sit back in your chair again. I'm going to keep talking. So you just played chemist with your own brain. And each time you do this, it becomes a part of your charismatic presence. Now, a power pose, it makes you feel confident. When you feel confident, others feel it because of those empathy mirrors. And overall, we want to be led by someone who's confident. We want to do business with someone who's confident. We like to be around people who are confident. And we might not know what you're confident about, but your body language and your presence oozes confidence, which we can read as you're confident about something. Can you see how doing this pose before going into an interview or a networking event or pitching to decision makers would be helpful to you? Now, I want to mention what happened to those participants who went into the low power poses. Now, a low power pose is any position where your chin is lowered, your shoulders are rolled forward, or your chest is caved, you're hunched over, your arms might go into blocking or self-soothing, kind of like what I'm doing now. In the low power posers, their testosterone actually went down, which meant that they were feeling less confident, and their cortisol actually raised. So not only were they feeling less confident, but they were feeling more stressed and anxious. Now, my clients, when I bring them through their first power pose, they often say, I don't go into low power posing. And I say, oh yeah? Bring out your cell phone. So they'll bring out their cell phone, and I ask them to look at it, and what happens? My chest caved, my chin lowered, my shoulders rolled forward. If I were to stay in this position, looking at whatever is in my hands, my testosterone, my confident building testosterone, is going to start to diminish, and my anxiety will start to increase. Can you see how doing something as looking at your cell phone before a meeting can put you at a great disadvantage? Especially if you're wanting your ideas to be adopted or others to follow the direction that you've set for the future of your organization. Power, status, and confidence are non-verbally communicated by how you use the space around you. So when you slump down, when you cave your shoulders inwards, or you make yourself small, you give off the impression that you're insecure, basically insignificant. But by keeping your posture upright and your shoulders back and your head held high, and you're expanding yourself and taking control of the surrounding space, this not only gives the outward appearance of confidence, strength, and vitality, but as you learned, it starts this chemical reaction in your brain that makes you feel more sure of yourself. Now, I have a visual in your workbook along with the other variations of this power pose that you can try out. Cuddy is continuing to do research and is partly in response to hearing from people with physical disabilities that limit their ability to power pose. And what they've suggested to Cuddy is that what they do is they can't go into the power pose, so they imagine themselves in a power pose. And it has the same kind of effect. Visualization again, right? When people can imagine themselves in power pose, they feel more confident. And they're much less worried about what others think of them. So if you can't power pose, imagine yourself in a Wonder Woman or a Superman pose.